Hey everybody, I'm Wisdom Cube, and welcome back to another installment of Crossover Brawlers. And today, I'm going to be doing a matchup between two different trios. And the first of them is the Crystal Gems, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl from Steven Universe, and the Vees, Fox, Valentino, and Velvet from Hasbin Hotel. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Sorry. Now, the crystal gems, of course, are the protectors of Earth, but for these three in particular, they all are very different, yet they come together so well. Literally. But I'll get back to that. Now, I'm going to start with Garnet. Now, Garnet is the leader of the crystal gems. She is a fusion of two other types of gems called Ruby and Sapphire. And while, yes, the Vees will technically be facing four opponents, since Ruby and Sapphire are fused all the time, I'm going to be including Garnet as the sole member of this trio. Okay? Now that's out of the way, let's continue. Yeah, Garnet is incredibly powerful, able to fight and defeat someone like Jasper, to fighting Amethyst to a draw once, and even during the Gem War, she fought against thousands of soldiers alongside another crystal gem named Bismuth. And speaking of her, the two are actually equals in terms of strength. Now, as for her weapons, Garnet has these pair of gauntlets on her hands, and she's able to use them to generate electricity and, shoot them out like rockets. And, there's also another special thing she has, and that is future vision that she has from Sapphire. And as for her flaws, Garnet's future vision isn't 100% correct, and high stress situations can cause the fusion to break apart, as seen with the Sardonic's situation and the Pink Diamond reveal. Now, as for other fusions, I will get back to those later, but for right now, Garnet is capable of fusing with other gems, so let's just leave it at that. Now, on to Amethyst. Now, Amethyst is a quartz soldier from the Beta Kindergarten, and she isn't as experienced as Garnet and Pearl are, but she can hold her own when she needs to. Maybe not to the same extent as like Garnet, Pearl, Bismuth, or Jasper, but she's up there. And speaking of which, as to her powers, she's able to like spin dash like Sonic the Hedgehog, and even upgrade it when she lights her whips on fire and can create an explosion with them. And she's capable of shapeshifting, which is probably her favorite ability. She can also use her hair, like her long hair, as a whip. I think she did that in one episode. But as for her flaws, she can be easily angered when pushed too far, isn't that much of a strategist, and is usually just goes in swinging. Now on to Pearl. Pearl is the brains of the Crystal Gems. She's fought in the Gem War. She is Pink Diamond's first soldier gem, despite being a Pearl. And as for her powers, she can manipulate sand to a degree. Her weapon is a spear, which she can make into a trident, and she can also create holograms, like her hollow pearls that she uses for training. Now, she's also incredibly agile, and her basic style of fighting is blades, mostly. Now, as for her flaws, oh boy, she can be vulnerable to emotional damage, and um, she is can sometimes be overconfident in her abilities at points. Despite being intelligent, yeah, that intelligence can lead to her detriment at times. Now, as for her feats, um, she's taken a couple of beatings here and there, and that's surprising for some of her caliber because pearls aren't fighters. They're servants, plain and simple. But Pearl rose to the occasion, and she's taken hits from Sugalite, Garnet and Amethyst out of control fusion, and yeah, she's proven her mettle. Now on to the Vees. Oh boy, the Vees. Now, Valentino, Fox, and Velvet are a tight knit group, but they do have their fair share of weaknesses. Um, for Valentino, it's his poor eyesight. For Velvet, she's not a fighter without her technology, like her phone, for example. And Fox, oh boy, that massive ego of his. If you guys watch season 2, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, on to their various different powers. Fox can generate electricity, which caused a massive blackout once. Valentino is quite the marksman with his pistols, and Velvet can easily create potions, manipulate social media, and create holograms with her phone. And now onto their feats. Fox and Valentino can easily tear through demons and metal respectively, and alongside Velvet, they defeated Alistair, Nifty, and Husk in a fight. And as for Velvet herself, she's capable of fighting Nifty to a draw, someone who killed Adam. And Velvet alongside Valentino stopped Vox and saved Pentagram City from the might of Lilith, this massive cannon, from overloading alongside everyone else. But yeah, now, how would this fight go down? Oh boy. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. Now, I can imagine the fights straight up, like Garnet versus Vox, Pearl versus Valentino, and Amethyst versus Velvet. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Now, as for the fights themselves, it's interesting to note that their various fighting styles can either be a detriment or come into play. Now, on the Crystal Gems side, the Crystal Gems have thousands of years of experience, like mostly Garnet and Pearl, but yeah, my point still stands. And aside from that, they have a wide variety of time to develop their abilities in some form or way, and that could lead an edge over the Vees. Now, on the Vees end, I think like Vox's sheer power could overwhelm the Crystal Gems if the Vees decide to switch up on them, which I'm pretty sure they're capable of doing. And yeah, the Vees can be quite crafty when the situation demands it. How else did you think they were able to, like, make Alistair surrender even with the backing he got from Nifty and Husk in their first fight? Yeah, now, as for, the detriments, I think, if the Vees are capable of exploiting the Crystal Gem's emotional baggage they have and emotional damage, especially Pearl and Amethyst in that regard. But yeah, I think Garnet might be able to help them keep it together as to not fly off the handle, as they are shown to be capable of doing in certain situations. Now, as for the Vees detriment, I think the Crystal Gems might be able to exploit their arrogance and various different, like, detriments, like Velvet's reliance on technology, again, her phone, and, Val's poor eyesight. And, I don't think if Pearl can disarm Valentino, I think she's got that in the bag. Now, as for Amethyst, that's going to be quite interesting because Velvet's phone is the source of her power. And if Amethyst disables, I'm sorry, either disables, disarms, or even destroys Velvet's phone, yeah, I'm pretty sure Amethyst got that in the bag. Now, as for Garnet and Box's fight, I think that's going to be quite tricky because, again, Box is capable of just causing a citywide blackout. Like, this takes place in either, like, Beach City or in Petrogram City, down in hell. I'm pretty sure, Box got the advantage there, and that's not even taking into account the massive, advantage he has when he is able to, overload and even take control of certain technology. So, I think, Box might have that, but it's tricky because Garnet is more cool-headed than Box. If the fight doesn't start going his way, Fox will just go crazy. And if and that's not even taking into consideration the various demon forms that the Vees have. And that would give them a massive advantage if the fight doesn't start going their way. And oh yeah, the fusions. I'm sorry, I can't believe I almost forgot about that. Now, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl are capable of fusing together into certain type of fusions, depending on who they fuse with. Now, since Steven is in the picture in this scenario, the other gems have Opal, Sardonyx, Sugalite, Alexandrite, and Sardonyx in the mix. Now, it's interesting to ask this question. Would the Crystal Gems fusions fare well against the Vees demon forms? That's an interesting question. That's a maybe, but I think it all takes into consideration one thing: the limitations that both the Crystal Gems and the Vees have. Now, as for the Crystal Gems, if their body takes enough damage, their forms will dissipate and retreat back into their gem to heal. But if the gems are shattered, it's game over for them. Now, as for the Vees, they only have one weakness, and that is they can be killed by angelic weaponry. Now, since angelic weaponry isn't available in this fight, the Crystal Gems might just have to beat them down until they either surrender or the Vees just, like, run away or exhaust themselves. Yeah. Now, this is quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because it all factors down to teamwork, experience, power, and who lasts longer. Now, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think will win in this crossover Brawlers? The Crystal Gems or the Vees? If you guys think the Crystal Gems will win, list off your reasons. But if you think the Vees will win, list off your reasons. I'm Wisdom Q. I'll see you all next time, and goodbye.